Hello, my name is Corey Widener, one of your instructional technology coaches in UCS, and I would like to introduce you to a new web app that we have to use with our students called Microsoft Reading Coach. It is a web app, so it's only for use on a website, and it allows students to practice their independent reading using some of Microsoft's AI features, along with some other immersive reader features that we have for Edge browser. So here is what our link looks like in ClassLink. If we click on it, it will take us into Reading Coach. Should log students, teachers in automatically. Maybe the first time you might have to select your name or type it in, but for the most part, it will get you in there pretty quickly. As we can see, it jumps us back into a story maybe we already started. We've got 3 options for reading: creating a story using AI, read a passage from their library, or add a passage on your own, or they would be adding a passage on their own. So we also have some achievements down here. If the student was to click on that, it would show the achievements and the history of what they've read, how much they've read, and so on. Remember, this is independent practice, so there is no teacher dashboard. This is the students going in and making some choices on their own to practice their reading using their laptop or iPad. So we're going to go to create a story. As you can see, we've got some characters here. The more the students read, the more levels the students get through, they are actually awarded more characters. So this animal section could fill up, or fantasy or science fiction. They may even come up with a new type of character. But the student gets to choose. So we're gonna pick a monster. We're gonna have that monster be let's do in a house. As you can see, it starts to look at characters and setting for students, so it starts to kind of look at some literary elements for them. Then they get to choose their reading level. This is not grade level, like this isn't first grade, second grade, third grade. This is more along the lines, if we click on the I for information, levels 1 and 2 for readers who know basic letter sounds and phonemes. Readers may benefit from an educator or parent reading these out to them. There's a 3-4, a 5-6, all the way up to 7-8, where it's readers are comfortable with complex texts, focusing on varied subject matter. So as the students start doing this, you can tell them, you should go to level 2, you should go to level 4. If you see them struggling, or if they're not getting high enough percentages, they can always back it down a level if they so choose. But the idea is for them to successfully practice their reading. This is just an example of a level 1, level 4 or 5 right here in the middle. Now we went from Max to Lila, a little bit bigger, a little more details, and then all the way up to like a 7 or an 8. Once again, more details, lengthier, tougher words, cherished, some things like that. But for what we're doing, I'm just going to choose level 1 for my monster in the house. Monster, house, level 1. So now I'm going to start reading. That gives students may have to allow Reading Coach access to their microphone the very first time. That would be something that might pop up here in the upper left-hand corner. They're going to read. Might not be for 10 minutes, might be as long as they have. And then they're going to stop to get some feedback. So let's just click on Start Reading here. Counts us in. And we start reading. Max is a monster. He lives in a big house with many rooms. He likes playing hide and seek. But today he can't find his friends. Max hears a noise in the basement, so he goes to check it out. Bravo. and then the student would stop reading. So here we have some choose your own adventure style for our story. We can see what Max's unexpected encounter is. We can see what Max's secret basement adventure is. I also, as a reader, could look at my results to see how I did and then come back to choose A or B. So it just really depends on the reader and what they're looking for, kind of continuing their adventure or seeing how they're doing. But let's just keep going. We'll get to the end of our story before we look at our results. Max's secret basement adventure. So now AI in the background is creating the second half of this story based on my decision. So here we are again. Welcome to Reading Coach. Now we're going to read that what happens when he goes to the basement. So we're going to click on Start Reading and keep going. So now what are we going to do? Is Max running away or is Max facing the monster? Once again, student's choice. This isn't anything that you'll be a part of. They're just doing their thing. So now we're creating our next chapter in our story. Start reading. So now we've gotten to the end, and we've got this piece now. At any point, you know how we have the two little breaks there, and it said view results. This is the type of results that we would have been seeing. So I get a pronunciation accuracy of 96%, a reading time of 39 seconds, and then words to practice. So anytime along the way, if I ever would have come to this screen, I could have practiced these words. So if I click on practice words.
Next step, practice. Select any word to keep building your skills.
So now we're going to do better at these words. I thought basement would have been in there, but it wasn't. So let's go to this one.
When you're ready, press the microphone and read the word out loud.
So now we could have it read out loud to us to hear it.
Soon. Soon.
All right. Then, as our person told us, we could click on microphone to say the word. Soon.
You're making your brain stronger. Nice work.
So then I would go to my next word down here, and you can see I got my green star. It allows us to stretch the word out into syllables.
Free. Ziz.
We can put it back together, hear the word.
Freezes.
And then we could practice saying it. Freezes. So now, as you can see, you know, I practiced the words. I had my reading time, so now I could start over, get a different story, read something else. You know, I practiced the words. So I'm just going to go to read something else, especially if there was like a timer, or maybe you were saying, you know, read your 20 minutes a night or something like that. I could just go back to read something else. We could go down and take a look at my achievements. You know, how much time have I spent reading, the number of sessions I've done, my accuracy, my correct words per minute. In April, I had a high accuracy award, 100% accuracy. In March, I had another high accuracy and a first timer. So they probably get the first timer one that they go there. There's a little arrow to go back up there. And then under history, you kind of see some of the stories that I practiced or taken a look at. So I'll move back to there. Another way that students can practice their reading is to read a passage from Microsoft's library. Creating stories with AI, I haven't run across too many informational texts, but these read a passage from our library. I have seen some informational texts in there. So if they go to read a passage from the library, Once again, the levels mean the same thing. If we were to come here, they mean basically the same thing. So if they were a level 1 and choosing their own adventure kind of story with AI, they would probably be a level 1 over here. But we can kind of see now we're getting into nonfiction and fiction stories. We're getting Lexile levels with each one of our passages. So that might help you to guide the students in the right direction as well. Here we are in April. How plastic is recycled might be a perfect one to tell the kids, if you assign independent reading practice this week, everybody must read How Plastic is Recycled. Kind of give them a task to do for their independent reading. So if they were having to do that one, they click on it. And it's very similar. So I'm not going to start reading quite yet. Because I'd like to show you some of the immersive reader features. These features are available. It doesn't matter whether they're choosing an AI story, whether they're reading a Microsoft passage, or whether they choose that third option to write their own passage. All of these immersive reader tools are available. And they're up here in this upper right-hand corner. So students have the ability to have a text preference. They can make letters and words bigger or smaller. And some color options, some high contrast maybe, for what students might want to have. They have more colors, but of course, students always love to get the colors going there. And then show source formatting on or off. Just gets rid of that source formatting. So that's more of your visual text preferences. So we can break each word into syllables if we choose. We don't have that on now, but recycled. If I turn syllables on, it breaks it into that 3 syllables, recycled. So it could maybe be something that our K1s and 2s might be interested in having students turn that on. We also can maybe highlight different parts of speech, nouns in purple, verbs in red, nouns and verbs. You could turn them all on if you want. Just kind of leaves your other, And then we do have this feature. I'll turn these off so we don't have all these things on there. Adverbs where it says show the label. So yellow on yellow is a bad choice. Verbs. Now, when I have the label on, it has a V of a verb, that kind of thing for the label. So we've got some text preferences, we've got some grammar options, and then we get to our reading preferences. How do we want it to focus in on one line at a time as we read? And that will move as I read. Do we want it to focus in on a little bit of a larger area? Or do we just don't want line focus on it all? And then this was that picture dictionary that we were kind of referencing during my practice. We can click on the words, like while it's reading time, we can click on the words, hear them being read,
Recycled.
and get some pictures to go along with it. And that's for every word.
Something. New.
Examples of what new might be. So those are all available. As I was reading, I never did that at the beginning, but as I was reading, all of those pieces are available for students to click on. So some of these I could see how you might want to tell them they're there. Others, if you're really interested in their reading and really kind of seeing how they could do with just plain text, you might not show them some of these. It really would be up to you as to what you might want to instruct them to do for the reading practice. So now, as I said before, I didn't start reading it, so I'll just start reading this How Plastic is Recycled. So here, we're not getting into any like choose something from AI or whatever. We're just reading about what happens to plastic being recycled. I still get my results of my pronunciation, my reading, my words to practice. As you could assume, probably factory was going to be in there because I clicked on it to hear it. I could go into that practice word piece again. I could read this again. If we go back into it, it's that same piece. Or we could go back to read a passage and choose something different. You know, up here, that might be, you know, as they get a little bit. Let's just take a look at like a level 7. Not as many options. Early people in Central American land bridge. All right. So if I go to that, let's just kind of see what we get here. I'm just going to close out of that to see how much people lived. So you can see what, 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs. See, so there is quite a bit more as you move up into the higher levels, higher lexile levels and whatnot. But this might be a good one to introduce some of those tools to, so they could click on it to be like, okay,
Archaeologists.
archaeologists, you know, I've been pronouncing it wrong my whole life or something like that. So those are some pieces that you might be interested in. As they get a little higher, some of those tools may become a little bit more noteworthy. So we've seen creating a story using AI. We've said reading a passage from our library, and the other one is they could add a passage. So they have the ability to come in here and for lack of a better term, type their story if they want. Maybe they have a rough draft. Maybe they have something in Word that they're just going to highlight and copy and paste and put in over here. I've got a passage over here in my Schoology account, a PDF that I put in there about Lewis Carroll. Got this from Discovery Education. And you could do the same thing. You could give them this PDF that maybe you wanted them to practice some reading on or something like that. So now I have the ability to, if I needed to have the student download this, they could then, you know, copy and paste some of the words from here. You know, I just might have them download it, open it up. Here's their download. Let's just say, we'll take this piece right here, Control C, go back over to our reading coach, Control V, and now it's pasted it in there for us. And I could just, you know, Lewis Carroll, and then do next. So that's a little bit about our web app called Reading Coach. Hopefully you see some ways that this independent reading practice with AI can be used in your classroom, and will let your students have a chance to kind of go in there and practice their reading. So that's been Microsoft Reading Coach.